Friday, June 14th, about 6:11 a.m. in the morning, and I'm going to start reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. The author is problematic. People have enjoyed the series, but there is apparently a lot of smut and questionable steamy scenes, which I'm actually looking forward to. But some might even say the series is garbage, while other people find it to be a beloved series. I've watched summaries about it, specifically by Cara. What is her channel? I believe her name is Cara, but it was fantastic. I watched her explanations of the series. It was like reading the books. Probably better, I don't know. In any case, I have decided that to help me get out of my reading slump, I should read some popcorn, some junk food, some romantasy. Romantasy wasn't a thing when I was growing up, but romantasy. And so I'm going to give this a try and see if it not only helps me feel, if it gets me lost in a fantasy world, but if it also helps me read a bit more, to get a few books under my belt that aren't classic literature. So I just want to say this is where I start this ACOTAR adventure. So I've gotten far enough into the book that I want to keep reading it. Like, the PlayStation is off, and I'm choosing to read instead. It was probably yesterday, a few chapters back, that I was like, yeah, I'm starting to think of reading the book instead of doing other things. And oh shoot, so it's working. So, and I've cracked this. It's actually happened. Like, it's happening to the book. So I knew what to expect from this. I knew what to expect from this book because I've watched videos that summary the entire series in a very interesting, entertaining way. So I already know what to expect. I already know the stories, the characters, the plot, all that stuff from the way that the person shared the books. So it was great. But reading this, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the break it is from the pressure I put on myself to read other types of books. So, as I said, I'm reading fairy smut, and I'm kind of enjoying it. It hasn't gotten to any smut yet, but I know it's coming. So, yeah, I'm digging reading. I'm enjoying it. I know that. I know this isn't amazing writing or anything like that, and I know that the author is controversial, also beloved from people enjoying the stories, but also, critiqued for past behavior stuff. But I'm enjoying reading it. I'm not quite, but I'm getting to the point where I think it's starting to feel like the way I felt when I would read fantasy when I was younger. The only thing is, this isn't as high fantasy as what I used to read. It isn't the same. I know that this is more popcorny. It's called romantasy now. It's a whole genre, but I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying reading this. I'm just gonna, I'm admitting it. I'm looking forward to reading the whole series. And it's like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm okay with preferring to read a book. I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I sound angry, but I'm just sort of like, why did I not just start reading this stuff sooner? I've had these books for a few years. When did I buy them? 2022. Yep. But I'm glad. And I even dipped on the coffee, and this is peppermint tea. Peppermint tea is my favorite, and I never drink it because coffee's just I just get the coffee, but I'm gonna start drinking tea more often. Look at me, like tea in a book kind of feels more like the myself of long ago. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read and drink tea. Wednesday, June 26th, 2024. And 7:48 a.m. I've just finished reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like I just finished right here. And then there's like acknowledgements and acknowledgements. Finished the book. And the experience, I read this for a couple hours this morning here on the floor of my book nook, really dusty and dirty. And yesterday I read it for a few hours in bed in the morning because I stay up all night, and that's where this crack in my spine came from. This felt like reading classics. Like those are my old fantasy classics. There and there. Not the ones that are forward, but you know what I mean? And it felt like reading used to. You know? Like in a different way than reading East of Eden, you know? I didn't even read the back of this. One thing that stuck out to me a couple days ago when I was starting to get into the book, when I started thinking of reading when I was gaming, when I would actually think of, I wish I was reading right now. One of the early mornings that I read, there was like this description of colors, because she's into painting, the main character of this book, and it was describing all these different colors, and it reminded me of when I was younger, when I read books a lot when I was a kid, and how I used to really enjoy that, especially in fantasy novels, where they especially seem to love to focus on exotic or pencil crayon colors of a name, like names of colors. It just seemed, when I was reading, there was this part where it had some of that, and it seems I don't know, it just sort of hit a spot in me from when I was a kid reading fantasy, and I wonder if that's why I used to enjoy fantasy so much when I was a kid. The descriptions, the extra stuff about colorful things, I don't know, it just sort of hit me. And it seems a bit gaudy sometimes about it, but it just fits, especially in fantasy literature. And so, aside from that, and I don't think it's just a fantasy literature, but I do see how probably my enjoyment of fantasy literature when I was a kid, probably, especially Tolkien, right, Lord of the Rings, probably led to why I love poetry so much. That connection is something I made a couple days ago. So who'd have thought that I would have made that connection while reading, fairy smut in 2024, sitting cross-legged in my book nook on the floor, right? So that's my reading so far. And honestly, I kind of want to keep going, because from everybody who talked about these books, most people did not like the first book as much as the following books. And I have a feeling I'll enjoy the following books as well, because of what spoilers of the spoilers that happened. So I'm thinking I might just keep going and enjoy reading the ACOTAR series at this point in my life, in between all the classics that I have in mind. So thank you for coming with me as I read. 8:11 a.m. and I'm in bed because I've been up all night and I've been going to bed in the morning. I had just finished reading the first book in the ACOTAR series called A Court of Rose and Thorns, or Thorns and Roses. A Court of Thorns and Roses. This here is the second book in the series, and this one's called A Court of Mist and Fury. Now, I've heard that this is a good one, that many people like this one more than the first book. But it was interesting because when I read the first book, I didn't focus so much on the review, the in-depth telling of the stories. I didn't I've had the whole series spoiled for me, but not really. Reading the book, it grabbed hold of me, and I read it like I was a reader, like I was a bookworm again. I read the first book, and I just finished it a few minutes ago. I was sitting cross-legged on the floor in the corner of my book nook, after gaming all night. I read in the morning. I read for a few hours and finished the whole book. Then I transported my videos from my phone to my laptop, and I'm gonna work on that later to make a book vlog. But I just finished the first book, and I have the second book right here, A Court of Mist and Fury. I love the color of the cover. I've got a matching set 'cause I bought them a couple years ago. Book Talk, of course, had been the inspiration. And as I said, I have had this spoiled for me, but that makes me want to read this one very much because I actually really did enjoy the first book. I did. I really did. I thought it was good. It got me. It got me into it, and I know that I do like this. I do want to read this. And this is with me having watched numerous booktube videos about the problematic character of Rysand, and even of Tamlin, right? The problematic behaviors, the discussions around the books, the characters, but also the discussions around Sarah J. Maas herself, who wrote this series. But at the same time, in my brain is swirling the connection of the ACOTAR series to another one of her book series, and where the characters that are prominent in the Night Court makes me think of the old TV show. I love that show. It has me thinking about the crossovers that will be in a different series of hers, and I don't know if I enjoy this book and the rest of the series as much as I did enjoy the first one. I might be one of those people that might check them out, So I've got this beside me. It's gonna be beside me as I fall asleep to the sounds of the city waking up, The first book is already tucked back on the shelf, and when sitting on the floor of my book nook, I thought of how dusty everything is. This is an immense amount of dust and dirt, and I was like, I gotta get something and clean all my shelves and sort them all, and hey, while I'm at it, maybe I could, you know, yeah, I was thinking, but I feel like a reader again, though. And it's not like I haven't read. I've read other books this year so far. And I definitely felt like a reader when I read East of Eden. That book, the classic John Steinbeck East of Eden, had me reading the way I am right now, as in, wanting to read it at bedside and reading it at reading it a lot and thinking of reading when I was doing other things. So, this isn't my first time this year feeling like a reader, but definitely reading a fantasy or romantasy series has me feeling like the person who used to go for walks and read while walking. Read while I would walk. I'm kind of hopeful that part of me is still here inside, because I do want to be able to go outside and take photos outside and see the world and outside around me. I know this topic diverted. It's just reading helps. It does help. So I'm gonna read. I'm telling myself that I won't start reading this book right now. I'm gonna let the first book sit with me as I fall asleep. Hopefully I fall asleep. And I will start reading this when I wake up. And I'm looking forward to it, because I'm looking forward to getting to know these characters in this way. Is it the most amazing writing ever? No. Is it the worst? No. It's not. It's not nearly as bad as I thought it might be for some reason. I'm trying not to think about it too much, about all the booktube and drama and stuff. I just want to enjoy the storytelling and the art of reading. Yeah, what a pretty book, though. And it's floppy. I like the floppiness of it. Yeah, it's a nice. This was a nice set, And I don't mind that I'll have cracked the spine when I get reading to it. It's really nice, to just read like that. So I'm gonna stop pining over it and just stop this video. I just wanted to say where I'm at. That I haven't even started to read it yet. I put my bookmark, in that page. And then we'll see where it takes me. I like that feeling. I like that feeling of reading again. I've been surrounded by books in my book nook, and I've bought books over the years, and there's a lot I want to get to, and of course I'll never get to them all, but it feels good to read like this again. I don't want to stop myself from reading, and I like it that I think of reading, or that I could have been reading when I'm gaming. I still like gaming. I still like racing. I'm making videos with that, but this is what I want to do more of. I want to read more. And I think this is just the thing that I'm reading this kind of stuff right now as a break before I go back into some more classic literature. I think I did a good thing, And yeah. Okay, good night. Or I hope good night.